Hey, Wrexham fans! How are you? We've got a new signing and a little bit more today. So stick with me until the end because today we have a lot of good things to talk about. Look, in recent seasons, Wrexham has always started well and climbed the table from the start. And now, even though it's just the beginning, with 4 games played, the team sits in 15th place in the league, with only 1 win. Doesn't seem like much. Don't worry, there's good things coming. In their last match, Wrexham beat Millwall 2-0 and also closed the transfer window with a flourish, bringing in 3 key reinforcements on the last day of the transfer window: Ben Sheaf, Dom Hyam, and Issa Kabor. It's safe to say the squad is now much stronger and ready to compete for higher positions. And manager Phil Parkinson has already spoken about this. In an interview with Leader Live, he said he was pleased with the team's performance so far, especially because Wrexham has shown attacking quality. They've scored 7 goals in their first 4 games and have consistently found the net in all competitions so far. Parkinson summed it up well: the higher you climb, the higher the opponent's quality. And that's how it is in the Championship, with plenty of players and teams with Premier League experience. But, according to him, the important thing is that Wrexham has courage, creates chances, and shows they can score in any game. Now, hold on tight. The next 5 games could determine a lot of this season. The first challenge is against QPR at home. Then comes the toughest, away to Norwich. They host Derby County, visit Leicester City, and close before the FIFA World Cup finals against Birmingham City at Racecourse. And my question is, do you think Wrexham can pull off victories in these matches and really get going in the competition? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. The fact is, if the team gets through this streak well, we can start to dream bigger, who knows, maybe even take concrete steps towards promotion. Under Phil Parkinson, they've already achieved a veritable treble of promotions and are now in the Championship, but that's not all. On and off the field, Wrexham has become a global phenomenon, and the dream of the Premier League is getting closer, especially with the support of Ryan and Rob, who continue to open the coffers to bring in reinforcements. And look how impressive. All this growth has already been recognized even by OPTA analysts' supercomputers. Wrexham has shot up the global club rankings, surpassing some of the traditional giants of world football. To give you an idea, more than 10,000 clubs were evaluated on factors such as size, importance, and performance. And Wrexham currently ranks 268th in the world, just 3 places behind MLS's LA Galaxy and 10 behind New York City. Can you believe that? Of course, there are still rivals ahead. Birmingham City, for example, recently promoted alongside Wrexham, ranks 217th. But even so, the Red Dragons are already above teams like Atletico Mineiro, 297th, Besiktas, 308th, and even Chicago Fire, 300th. This shows the extent of the club's transformation. And here's a comparison that makes it even clearer. York City, currently the highest-ranked team in the National League, is only 1,913th in the rankings. In other words, when Ryan and Rob took over, Wrexham was far from being a standout. And now, look where the club has reached, the top 300 in the world. Wrexham fans, I must now bring you some news that has taken many by surprise and sparked much debate behind the scenes. Dele Alli's name has been linked to our club. That's right, the former Tottenham Hotspur star could have donned the Red Dragons jersey. And look how interesting. Even after Phil Parkinson had already brought in no less than 14 signings this transfer window, Dele's name emerged as a possibility. At 29, he was recently released by Serie A side Como and became a free agent. It was at this point that speculation arose. Could Wrexham be his next destination? But let's think together. Would Dele Alli truly be a sporting reinforcement on the field, or was he just another commercial move, bringing visibility to the club? After all, his talent is undeniable. Who doesn't remember his incredible seasons at Tottenham? There were years in which he seemed untouchable, scoring goals, being named the Premier League's best young player twice in a row, and even establishing himself in the England national team. The problem is that, in recent years, his career has been in freefall. Stints at Everton, Besiktas, and Como failed to pan out. Since 2022, across all these clubs, he has played only 18 games. That's right, only 18 games in more than 2 seasons. A very small number for someone who would need to reach a high level to make an immediate impact. And here's a detail that perhaps few people know. Phil Parkinson knew Dele Alli long before this speculation. In 2015, when he was still coaching Bradford City, Parkinson faced the 18-year-old Dele, who was playing for MK Dons. In that game, Dele scored a goal and demonstrated his talent. Despite this, Parkinson didn't let the memory of that promising youngster get the better of him. In practice, the manager preferred to bet on someone who is already an important player within the club, Ollie Rathbone. Despite dealing with an injury, Rathbone was instrumental in the promotion campaign and should return to the spotlight once he's recovered. Parkinson made his choice to strengthen someone who has already proven himself within Wrexham rather than risking a big name who lives in memories of the past. And here's a thought. Did Parkinson make the right decision in saying no to Dele Alli? Or do you think it would have been worth the risk, even with so many doubts about the player's current level? What we do know is that, at his peak, Dele was different. In the 2016-17 season, for example, he scored 18 Premier League goals for Tottenham. He was a midfielder who arrived in the box, created, shot, and changed games. But since leaving Spurs, it seems he hasn't found his rhythm. Therefore, it's understandable that the manager has been hesitant. Signing a player solely because of his name can be a huge risk, especially in a project as serious and ambitious as Wrexham's. Ultimately, choosing Rathbone shows that Parkinson isn't a manager who makes impulsive moves. He values consistency, commitment, and confidence on the pitch. And that could be exactly what the club needs this championship season. Now I want to hear from you. If you were Ryan Reynolds and Rob Mack, would you have given the green light to bring in Dele Alli, even with all this uncertainty, or would you also stick with Parkinson, betting on the continuity of someone who has already delivered results? And to close today's video, my friends, check out this information that clearly demonstrates the scale of Wrexham's ambition. The club spent more than Barcelona and even more than some European giants after Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney gave the green light to 13 new signings. That's right, 13 reinforcements to make the squad even more competitive. Phil Parkinson has already built the core of the team for the first half of the season, and now he has depth in virtually every position. This gives Wrexham a real chance to climb the table and compete strongly in the championship. But I want to hear from you. Do you believe the club already has the squad to dream of the Premier League, or is it still missing that one standout player? The main focus this past transfer window was clear: strengthening the midfield and defense. On the final day, Ben Sheaf and Dominic Hyam arrived, important reinforcements that give the team a new look. However, as in every transfer window, there were also some near-new arrivals. An example of this was Bristol City's Zach Viner. Wrexham made offers for him, but all were rejected. Bristol City CEO Tom Rockcliffe spoke to BBC Sport and made it clear how relieved he was to keep Viner. He said it was difficult to resist Wrexham's Hollywood appeal, but the priority was to maintain the core that performed so well last season. And it makes sense, right? Viner is considered an essential part of their squad, and besides his quality on the field, he's seen as a leader in the dressing room. So it's understandable why Bristol City didn't release the player. Now, even without this signing, Phil Parkinson has nothing to complain about. On the contrary, he currently has a balanced defense, a mix of youth and experience. Connor Cody should lead the back three, now with the security of Hyam at his side. And then there are the youngsters Max Cleworth and Lewis Brunt, who have been improving significantly at this level of competition, as well as Callum Doyle, considered one of the most promising youngsters in the second division. In other words, even without Viner, Wrexham has managed to form a solid defensive unit with plenty of options to face this tight schedule. The big question now is, will Parkinson be able to find the perfect blend of youthful grit and the calmness of experience? This is the key to transforming Wrexham into a serious contender for promotion. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. With spending more than European giants and an increasingly strong squad, can Wrexham surprise this season? Or do you think the main objective should still be simply establishing themselves in the championship? Leave your comments, because this discussion promises to be very fruitful. Bye, hugs, subscribe, and don't forget, you're very special.